Hello, welcome to Data Valley. I am Charana, working as an AI engineer at Data Valley. Today, we are going to discuss the concept which we have discussed yesterday, and referring to that concept, we are going to build our first AI agent using a rule based system. That is how we are slowly mastering agentic AI using these small steps. Come on, let's dive into this session. First, we'll understand how this agentic cycle will be. That is, perceive, decide, and act. And of course, environment is also involved in that cycle. We'll understand how that cycle works. And next, we will going to look at a real world use case. Here, I am going to take a use case as a traffic light, which might seem simple, but it perfectly illustrates agent behavior. So, on that use case, we are going to talk about our agentic building. And from that, we are going to get hands on coding experience. As we are implementing using Python, we will get a coding hands on experience from the concept. So by the end of this session, you will not only understand how agent works, but you will also have built one yourself. And of course, that will made us to be ready for future agentic development of intelligent agents in our series. So these are our today's agenda for this session. Next, why I took this traffic light as an real world use case. You might wonder this, just I want to have a brief description about it, but actually it's a perfect introduction for an agent. Because if you look at this agentic AI circle, here we have agent program at initial stage. From that agent program, it will contact this environment using this perceive. Perceive in the sense it might be a sensors. So what is happening actually in environment that is grasped by this agent program, and according to that it will make some decide and it will perform some action based upon what it is receiving information from the environment. So in this cycle these all will be an systematic circular path where agent program will receive information from the environment using some sensors that is known as perceive, and according to that information what it got, it will perform some action and it get back to the agent back, and again it will move to the environment and wait for that response in that environment. So this is how the agentic cycle will work. So, if we talk about this real use case, which is a traffic light, we have three traffic light signals: red, yellow, and green. So, it has internal timer, which is considered as an perceived time, and it also have a decided movement where we can change from red light to green light or green light to yellow light and back. So this is what where the deciding stage is applicable. And changing that light or taking agent responsibility for taking that action to change light from one to other. That is act by changing the light. So this is how whole cycle will depend upon the our use case. So this perceived time, it's internal time, means it will keep track of how long that light has been on. Next, decide based on state. What is its current state? And based upon that time, It will consider the time and what is its current state. And based upon these two things, it decides what to do. Next, act by changing light. This is by changing the light color. Here, the action which is performed by the agent is changing the light. So, this information it will get from the environment. So, it controls the vehicles at this intersection is environment. So, this is a simple setup which help us to learn how agents operate in these cycles and how rules define their actions also. Let's move to the other side. One state. Next, second thing is rule based system. As we are implementing this agentic program using rule based system, our traffic light will follow clear if and then rules. Simply, when we are talking about technical concepts from Python, we have control structures where we have these if and else concepts. These are the rules which we are going to apply in this rule based system. Or suppose if the light is green and it is passed for 15 seconds, then switch to yellow. So this is how we will make if and then rules and we will give it to this agent. Next, finally, we have perceive, decide, and act. So this is an agentic cycle. Perceive in the sense what is happening in that environment. Decide is what to do based on those rules. And act is by changing something, whatever thing. The something is changing in that environment. That comes under this act. That act is considered as agent behavior. Simply how the human will act based upon our daily life situations. That is how the agent is designed. Means acting based upon changing something in environment. So these are building blocks of more advanced agents. Whatever the agents you take, these are basic building blocks. And next, moving on to the next slide. Here we have an agent design overview. How we will connect these basic daily life use case to our agent programming design. The components first we need is first we are defining the states. What are the states we have? Yes, as we all know about the basic traffic rules, we have red, yellow, and green color. These are the only states agent will able to move from one state to another state. So here these three colors are considered as an states. Next, one more important thing is duration. For suppose when we are in a red color state, it might take a few seconds to hold that action and then it move to another state and it also takes some time to be in that state. That defines the duration. And next, infinite loop using while. Here we are implementing while loop because we are making this agent to run indefinitely. Because when these as this is a continuous process, we are going to implement this while loop in our Python code and followed by controlled by if, else if, and else rules. These are the rules which we are going to follow. So this is based on these things we have designed our agent. Next, how does it works? Simply first, we will give an initial state. Whatever the, as it is in a cyclic process, we will start with an initial state. Suppose we'll start with an red state as our initial state, and we will time, will make that usage of time module, so that it will count how many minutes or seconds you that agent have to be in that state. And next, how much duration it has to be in that state, and within how much duration it have to switch between the states. And that process is continuously be in a loop. So this is main overview or a top level overview which we have designed for this use case. Now let's get into a code little bit so that we'll have a complete and a technical overview using Python. So this, for our use case, I'm start going to start writing a Python code. For this, let's import time first, because time is a module which is available in Python, which is used to count the duration out of an agent to be in a particular state. Next, next agenda is using, we have a three states. We need to define those possible states. Let's take light, red we have, and I am simply assigning red as a value. This indicates one of the states. Similarly, we have two more states, that is yellow, and I'm assigning yellow as a variable. I mean yellow, assigning yellow value to this light yellow variable. And one more state I'm going to define is green. And I am assigning green as a value to this light green variable. So these are the string values which we are going to define these states. Next goal is to have a duration of each state. Duration is an important for each state. Let me also create a variables there. Duration for, let's take first red. Let us assume as an 15, and similarly we want duration for other states also, right? Let's define, okay, go with 20. And next we have a green. Let's make green as 20, that makes sense, because people won't wait much, right? And yellow is for wait. Let's give 5. So these rules are generally governing the traffic lights behavior. So this will next, we have defined 3 states and along with the duration of each state. Next, we want initialize for our traffic lights. means as it is in a cyclic process, we need to start at a point where we can reach that point in that cyclic manner. So let's take a variable with current light state. Okay, let's go with red. We'll start with red. That means we are initializing the traffic lights with starting stage as a red. And we also give one more variable for time in current state. This defines what is the current state, because it's a common sense to have this time in current state variable, because it will track how long that light has been in its current state, so that after finishing that duration it will change its action. That means change its state. That is comes under its changing its action. So that's why I am using this variable. And next we'll write a function which uses this one. Let's write some function, random function run. We are running traffic, and yes, it is important to name these functions with a use case what you are performing. That is the most important thing. Now I'm going to access first is we want this current light state variable and time in current state. I want to access these two variables in this definition. So because our function first need initial state, this one, and of course time in state. So these are the two variables, but who are with Python basics, they might know that accessing these variables which are outside the function, which are termed as an global variables, cannot be accessed inside this function. So to access this global variables, we simply use global. So global is a keyword which is used to access global variables which are declared outside the function, and to access this we have to use this global is a keyword. Note this. For our thing, let's print. This is starting of traffic, right? Traffic light agent is started, so that we'll make a have a good look and good understanding that where the light is going to be started. As of my knowledge, I am going to implement while loop for this, because here the we have to run continuously. That will be in a cycle. So we have a while loop where we can continuously run our script. As we don't know number of iterations, how many times we have to switch between the states and how many times we have to interact with the environment, we don't know any kind of those things. Or suppose if we want to on the red light for only 5 times or only 6 times, then we may use these for loops. As we are using indefinitely loop until unless something will trigger it to stop. So in that case, that is very simple use case which is applicable to this traffic light. That's why that made me to take this while loop. So here the first thing what we discussed is the agent will interact with the environment using perceives or using a sensors. It will interact with the environment and it will take the information from the environment. For that step, I am taking this time in current variable once again here and incrementing it to 1. Yes, this is why, because this variable time in current will track how long that light has been in its current state. So that is incremented by 1 in each loop iteration. Okay, so when we are moving on and when we are running this Python code, you will able to know this usage of this variable. Okay, let's keep it hold and let's move. So okay, it is tracking how long that light has been in its current state. Next, upon this state, this variable, it has to it in the sense agent. Agent program has to decide what is its current state, how much time it has been in its current state, am I able to move to next state or not. As we declared here, we have already initialized all these states and its duration. So we need to compare the which state as its current state and duration of its state. Once it finished its duration, it will have to move to next state. So this is how we want to make if else or rule based logic based upon this state change. So this is where the agent is behaving like a human brain completely based on these rules. And okay, let's move with the code that will make sense. If okay, I think it is moving the thing. If these things, and instead of this one, we'll have two conditions and we'll print yes. Yes. Here I am making a if condition first to check the current state light. What is the current stage or current state? That is red. Yes. If it is equals to red, and what is the time? That is I am comparing with duration of red, because we are making duration of red is only 15 seconds. After this 15 seconds, it have to change its state for sure. So if this current in current state, yes, this variable which I have incremented here, if that variable is greater than or equal to this duration of red, if it is crossed this 15 seconds, I am making red to yellow. How means? Simply we have only two variables, that is current light stage and current time. So initially current state is red. So after duration is crossed, I am making current state to light green and time to 0, because it have to count the duration of again green state. This is the duration of the green state. So I'm making this variable to 0 so that it will count from 0 to 20, and after finishing of 20 then it will move to next state. That is how here these three lines will indicate simple if. Next, what if this current state is not equal to red? What is the another state we have? Light green. Okay. If the state is equals to light green, and simply add and operator, and time variable here is current and greater than or equals to duration of green. Why green? Because here the current state is light green and duration of light green is exceeded, then move that current state to yellow. Simply initializing this light yellow variable to this current light state. And of course, after changing the state, it is mandatory to initialize the time to 0 so that it from the 0 it will count based upon this duration what we have assigned as a constant before this function. And next, in else if what is the next state we have is a yellow state, and if that state is equals to yellow, and yes, if it's the current state is duration is exceeded, then here you may have a conflict little bit, because here we are meeting ending condition. If the currently it is yellow and duration is met, then what to do? Duration is met. I'm removing all these unnecessary things. Yes. So after yellow, I am making one more thing is current light state to red, because we defined it's an systematic cycling process. So once it finished this yellow state, then I am moving that current state to light red. And as you know, our timestamp to 0 again, so that it will come back to this initial state here. What do we have? Again, it will check for this initial state. Again, it will check for this duration. Until the duration finished, it will move to the next green. And next, until the end of duration of green, it will move to next state. And that is how this completely the whole script is going to be in this loop only. So this is how we have created this loop. Generally, while learning basics of Python, it is important or noted point to have a terminating condition for while loop. But here I am not mentioning any terminating condition for this, because in the real system it would changes the continuous state. As it is in a continuous process, I am not adding any terminating condition. But there will be a conflict. How this program will end then? We are not getting any terminating condition, and we are not giving any false condition, or if condition is equal to false, we are also not giving that one in this loop. So I want my agent to terminate only from the external user. When there is an something action um, from the user, when he or she pressed any input from the keyboard, that is keyword or keyboard interrupt, then only agent has to stop. So that is my case. For that, let me come out of this loop and give a starting or main entry to the Python script first. And yes, so this is my function definition, and here I am calling that function. As you know this, I am assigning this main string to the name variable. This as Python will consider this one has a by default starting point to the Python script. So here I am calling this function from the main function. So this is the thing. And one more thing I wanna add here is I want to use this time module. Mm, hmm. Because this pass will make changes visible in real time. Because after it is making a decide and performing some action, so we need to hold this program execution to perform that action. After performing that action, we will let the program to run continuously. So that is a use of this sleep function. So sleep is a function which we are importing from the time module, and here we need to mention a seconds in these braces. Okay, that will indicate how many seconds the whole Python script need to stop its execution. Not stop, it termed as a pass, just a pass to the Python execution, so that we will able to see the changes, like from which state to it is moving to another state. Okay, while running this script, let me show you that one. And that's it of code. Most we have discussed it main topic, main logical part of the code. And yes, name true is now defined. Here, what we do is okay, we'll write something here because we want only interrupt here. Here, true is not defined. Okay, this is the simple thing. As we know, Python is case sensitive, and yes, true is a keyword. That made sense. Just simply traffic light agent is started. Okay, here the loop is going to started. Okay, so to define more, we will have some print statement, so that will be an easy for us. While changing here is we are changing the state. So we'll add what changing state, and we will pass the variable here is what we are assigning current state light green. So we will pass this so that we will able to see the print statement in our output, so that it will be detect for us easily. And next, let me add this print statement for these things also. And here we need to pass light yellow, right? Light yellow. And one more here. Again, back to red. Uh, okay, caps lock. And remember, Python is always a case sensitive language. Mhm. And also, let me add slash n because whole thing will come in a new line. which will be an easy for us to debug and see the changes or what is happening with our code. And anything else? Let me give this current state variable and time. That also makes sense to have a what is those variables are printing, because okay, very nice. And current state, and we also want current timestamp also. Okay, very nice. Yes, that's it. Sorry, my bad. Yep. Okay, international error. So yes, when we use these Python developers, it is very important to have a look with these indentations, and that's it. Still running. Okay, same indentation error. So yes, if you see here, the traffic light agent is started very nice. First, initially we have current state is initialized to red. Very nice. Next, timestamp started from 1 and current state is red. Yes. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on up to 14. Why 14? See here. Now you will make a sense here. Yes. The duration of the red light we gave is 15. So after reaching 14, it have decided to change its state to green. And again, that timestamp, we are time in current state, we are changing it to 0, because we have initialized this variable to 0 at every stage, every before changing every state. So that's why after changing its state to green, again it is starting with 0. And what is the duration of the green? 20. We have 20. We have given 20. So to 20 it will run. See, up to 19. When it reaches 20, it will move to another state. That is changing state. And yellow we have given 5 things. So yes, it is up to 4. And again it is started with red. Again it moved to 15. And at 15 it will change the state. And if you see, they still running the code, because we don't have any termination condition here. If you look, we have initialized an infinite loop actually, right? So let me give a final touch of terminating this, because let me stop this, and I would like to give some termination, because that may affect in future. Let's try this. Hmm. Okay, let it be. Let's see. And little bit of exception handling knowledge we have to be carefully. We have to look in this. This knowledge also works very well. So, and I'm adding this keyword input. As I said, any interrupt from the end user who is using this agent has to stop from the input by giving through keyboard. So that is the interruption which I am creating at the end, so that it will tell agent is stopped. And we also create any exception. It will catch this exception, and exception as E, and then we'll print something. Apart from this exception, if any error will occur, it will catch that one. That is a use of this statement which I am writing currently. Yeah, that's it. Uh, okay, it is showing some error. Okay, I'm sorry. Accept. Yes, done. So if you see same process will start. Yes. So at the starting stage we have red, and after finishing of its duration it is moving to green, and after finishing of its duration it is moving to yellow. So again red, again yellow. So simply enough, I am giving an input from my keyboard. Yes. Sorry. And yes, it has stopped. So this is how we will create a simple use case using rule-based system. And getting back, so yes, so I hope this session will be really useful for you guys who have little bit of a Python knowledge is enough to create this kind of a starting agent. That will be very nice. And in coming sessions, we will create more things and more intelligent agents along with theoretical concepts too. So I hope this will be beneficial for you as I explained this agent blueprint, how the agent will work, and current state with the transaction logic, what we made in a loop, I mean in while loop, and how to apply these rule based concept to that agent. So this is how we ended today's session, and thank you.